confident that the auto gas initiative will lead to increased domestic gas utilization and enrich the trajectory of national economic growth and development.
A major milestone in federal government's commitment to domestic gas utilization, a cleaner and cheaper energy. President Buhari rolls out Auto Gas Initiative. Pensions Reform Task Team ex-chairman Abdulrasheed Mainab to be extradited following arrest in Niger Republic.
Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu for appointment as Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC?
Senate finally gives Mahmoud Yakubu the nod as INEC Chairman for a second term.
We must try as much as possible to domesticate and localize this production so that we can cut down on costs.
Federal government unveils strategic document on HIV/AIDS to commemorate Day as getting tested still remains a major hurdle. It's good to have you join us on the news tonight. I'm Ienre John, and we're reaching you live from our studio in Abuja. I have Dotun Oguyemi in Lagos and Mina Okwabasi in Enugu. They will be joining me tonight. You're welcome. Tonight we'll begin on a heartwarming note, especially for motorists in Nigeria, as they now have an alternative to petrol. Nigeria, has been a major player in the global oil and gas industry, this Thursday took a step further in effective utilization of its natural resources as President Muhammadu Buhari unveils the National Auto Gas Rollout Initiative, which is a core deliverable of the National Gas Expansion Program. The Auto Gas Rollout event, as the President says, signifies the realization of government's commitment to ensure the domestic utilization of the nation's vast gas resources, which currently stands at over 2 trillion cubic feet. State House correspondent Gideon Ifade brings us details.
It is an important milestone in whitening of domestic supply and the provision of cleaner, safer and better energy options for Nigerians, President Buhari says, as he unveils the National Gas Expansion Program, National Auto Gas Rollout Initiative.
We are confident that the Auto Gas Initiative will lead to increased domestic gas utilization and enrich the trajectory of national economic growth and development. I therefore encourage everyone to embrace gas in form of LPG, CNG, and LNG as an alternative fuel for autos and other prime movers.
The global crude oil market is fluctuating, and with the full deregulation of the local premium motor spirit market, the President observes the National Gas Expansion Program is coming at the right time.
With a proven reserve of about 203 trillion cubic feet and additional upside of 600 trillion cubic feet, ranking Nigeria as the 9th in the world currently, the need for domestic gas expansion and utilization is apparent. These developments have made it imperative to focus on gas as an alternative fuel to move Nigeria from the conventional dependence on white products for autos and prime movers of industrial applications to cleaner, accessible and affordable energy source.
And with the handover of mass transit buses to organized labor, the President pledged to continue providing support that will ease transportation challenges Nigerians are facing. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Similarly, Nigeria is set to key into the global shift to renewable energy with the rollout of auto gas, seen as the bridging fuel and the transition to zero-emission energy system. To this effect, the federal government says conversion of vehicles to dual fuel systems for interested Nigerians will be free going forward. Lydia Sampson has more.
Nigeria has been flaring a substantial proportion of the gas it produces, and this has taken the country far behind compared to other oil-producing nations in terms of gas conservation and utilization. This narrative has just changed for the better with the rollout of the National Gas Expansion Program. In addition to the huge economic benefits of O2 gas cutting across the entire oil and gas value chain, it is the most popular alternative to the conventional petrol and diesel. Experts say the good news is that existing conventional vehicles can easily be converted to run on auto gas.
Gas will create the industry, will power the industries. Gas, of course, can be converted to fertilizers, and fertilizer industries will power the agricultural industry. Gas can be converted to methanol, and methanol will power the chemicals industry. And of course, you know the power sector that can also be powered by gas.
CNG and LPG are the cheapest fuel they can find for automobiles and other uses. Therefore, NNPC is completely supporting this, providing all the necessary infrastructure and resources to deliver on this. Of course, it's also our primary role to provide the combustion kits for all vehicles until other private sector people can come in.
Our takeaway is that we are happy that we enable another business and we create another opportunity.
The gas expansion program is expected to open wide many windows of investment and employment, followed by private sector participation.
The marketing staff, the technician doing the conversion, which direct employment may be more than 10%, but based on 10% at 1 million per annum, automatically guarantee employment, direct employment to 10 million Nigerians.
We will have to migrate from what we are doing to the new one. That is to say, we combat from the old system to the new system.
The event also witnessed the handing over of mass transit buses to the Nigerian Labour Congress as part of agreement reached to cushion the impact of increase in petrol pump price.
Which will call on the government to speed expanding to the rural areas so that everybody can benefit this.
The rollout of the auto gas is said to have kick-started not just a new era in Nigeria's oil and gas sector, but a revolution that will empower millions through job creation. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
In other news, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has reassured Nigerians of renewed commitment by the Buhari administration to achieve economic prosperity and address security challenges in the country. The Vice President said this at the palace of the Emir of Lafia, Justice Sidi Bagay Mohammed I. Aliyu Tijani Mohammed reports that Vice President Osinbajo also inaugurated a number of key projects.
Vice President, who sympathized with the people of Nasarawa State over the killing of APC chairman Philip Sheko, among other victims of banditry and kidnapping, says the Buhari administration remains committed to end all forms of crimes and criminalities in the country. He says security agencies have been given orders to flush out criminals so that people can go about their legitimate businesses unhindered.
Which is why the president has said that, he's taking a serious look at how to deal with the issues, especially around the randomness. Because, some insane person goes into a place and shoots people down. That's not the sort of thing that you are prepared for conventionally. So we have to do a lot more local intelligence, which is, a lot more local intelligence. Some of the community policing efforts that we're trying to do, so that information is supplied faster, especially at the local level.
Emir of Lafia, Justice Sidi Bagay Mohammed I, assured the Vice President that traditional rulers are working closely with government to address insecurity. At the inauguration of Job Fair for Youth and Diagnostic Center, Vice President Osinbajo says Nasarawa government deserve commendation for promoting the well-being of the people. The Vice President also inaugurated Lafia VIP Lodge under private sector management to enhance revenue of the state. From Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari is reassuring Nigerians that the Boko Haram insurgency inherited by his administration will not be handed over to his successor in office. The president, who stated this Monday evening at a strategic engagement with Senate President Ahmed Lawan, said more decisions and proactive measures are underway towards ending the menace. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
At the instance of President Muhammadu Buhari, Senate President Ahmed Lawan led a high-powered presidential delegation to Borno State on a sympathy and fact-finding visit following the brutal killings of rice farmers in parts of the state. He is here alongside the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and member of delegation to give President Muhammadu Buhari a feedback on their engagements with stakeholders, especially the Zabarmari community where the killings took place. After their discussions that lasted about 1 hour, Senate President Ahmed Lawan told NTA News that President Buhari will not leave anything to chance in the renewed onslaught against terrorism and insurgency.
Mr. President said he inherited insurgency and he will finish with the insurgency before he leaves office by the grace of God. He will make available as much resources as possible for our armed forces to be well prepared and armed to fight the insurgency that has bedeviled that part of the country.
This fight is a national fight. It's not executive or legislature, but working together, and it's a manifestation of the close working between the legislature and the executive. One other takeaway is the resilience of the community. Here, the people who have just lost loved ones, and yet they came out, Zabamari, and welcomed us. And the message of hope and commitment of the Mr. President is remarkable. And the second one is really the efforts and the leadership of the governor of Borno State, and particularly in terms of resettling the IDP, over 22 camps. And in order for the people to return to their places of origin, we have to beef up security. We have to also try to assist them in terms of education for their children, health facilities for the people, and above all, means of livelihood.
The Senate President said on his part, the National Assembly will continue to give President Buhari the maximum support he requires to succeed in the battle against insecurity.
This is one thing that we must do, because there is nothing better than security. You provide security, everything will go on well. I want to also add here that there is need for new thinking, there is need for new strategies, there is need for more commitment, there is need for more motivation for our armed forces. In addition to the support, we should also give them targets.
Senator Ahmed Lawan called for more support, understanding and cooperation on the part of Nigerians as the government strives towards securing the country for a prosperous future. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Still on security, the Senate has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately initiate processes that will see to the exit of the current service chiefs. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that this is sequel to a motion of urgent public importance by Senator Kashim Shettima, which also urged the federal government to probe the management of funds in the military.
Senate reconvened into a closed-door session which lasted 40 minutes before legislative business of the day commenced. Issues of national security once again featured prominently on the floor. The motion by Senator Kashim Shettima representing Borno Central on the killing of farmers in Borno State over the weekend had some decisive resolutions.
Urge the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to immediately initiate a transitionary process of phasing out the current overstate security chiefs and replacing them with new ones with new ideas and solutions.
Enough of any excuses. People who have little or nothing to add should be shown the way out. People who have the capacity, the wherewithal, but probably lack the resources, will make the resources available.
It urged the federal government through its concerned bodies to provide relief to victims of that attack, recruit 10,000 civilian joint task force in Borno State into the various security forces.
When the civilian JTF were introduced, we had the security level drop drop drastically. So if we get this JTF that are properly trained, they should go to their areas. These 43 people or 67 now should be counted and compensation should be paid to them.
5 bills passed first reading. This includes the Police Service Commission Establishment Act Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Emmanuel Boacha. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Similarly, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution condemning the killing of more than 40 farmers last Saturday on rice fields in Borno State. National Assembly correspondent Lamiali reports.
Last Saturday's killing of more than 40 rice farmers at Zabarmari in Borno State came up as a matter of urgent public importance, as raised by the entire House members representing the 10 federal constituencies of the state. The House resolved that a state of emergency be declared on the security sector.
Despite the billions in resources and despite the giant strides and spirited efforts of the federal government and the countless lives lost, we still are at the mercy of murderers who offer only the promise of death.
Yesterday, the President confirmed that this time around they should be taking the country to their place. Each in the past, that
our farmers don't have to take permission to go to farm. We cannot be at the mercy of Boko Haram.
Reach out to Mr. President, maybe through the leadership. And we'll talk to Mr. President and whoever is involved that action has to be taken. Not just action, more action must be taken proactively.
The lawmakers also resolved to invite the president to the House for a brief on the security situation in the country. In another development, the House has resolved to investigate statements credited to a member of British Parliament over false allegations directed at Nigeria's former head of state, as raised by Representative Yusuf Gagdi.
An institution like Parliament in the United Kingdom should not have made that statement without any evidence.
The rehabilitation of the Upper Iweka Road, which links the 4 geopolitical zones to southeast and south-south through a motion from Obinna Chidoka, was supported by the House due to its economic importance. Among bills that passed second reading are a bill seeking establishments of additional campuses of Nigerian Defense Academy to accommodate more youths wishing to join the armed forces, sponsored by Aniekan Umana, and the bill from Roland Igbakwa, which seeks amendments to the Power Reform Act to compel electricity distribution companies to reimburse any consumer that incurs expenses in maintenance of electricity. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has maintained that the killings in Borno State is not a true reflection of the successes the military is recording in the fight against insurgents in the northeast. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said so at an interactive session with online publishers in Lagos. Anthony Forson has details.
Going after soft targets is an act of weakness and desperation by terrorists.
These were his words, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed briefing online publishers to bring them up to speed on the state of affairs and the military engagement against Boko Haram. Describing the act as cowardice and savagery by a group of deranged terrorists, it does not reflect the progress being made by the military, the minister said.
Boko Haram is badly degraded and can only carry out cowardly attacks like the one against defenseless farmers over the weekend. We urge Nigerians not to lose hope in the capability and commitment of the military to round the terrorists.
Reacting to the British parliamentarian's position on the situation in Nigeria, Lai Mohammed said it is most disheartening.
The parliamentarians in a country with a history of upholding the finest ideals of democracy will act in such an uninformed manner on an issue such as NSAS. The quality of the debate at the British Parliament on NSAS was under par. Fake accusations based on fake news and disinformation were leveled against the federal government by poorly informed participants at the debate. One MP even accused former Nigerian leader, General Yakubu Gowon, will serve this country to the best of his ability of stealing half of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Sheer ignorance. The flippant MP, who unfortunately chairs the Foreign Affairs Committee of the British House of Commons, did a great disservice to himself, the committee he chairs, and the entire Parliament by allowing himself to be misled by fake news.
On CNN, the minister simply said,
an international broadcaster like CNN was misled by fake news and disinformation. But CNN has itself to blame for relying on unauthenticated videos, which it took from social media. Now CNN is seeking to save face by trying to clarify its report, which was not only inaccurate, but failed the simple test of balance and fairness.
The minister restated the federal government's position and support for the military, asking Nigerians to form a common front to encourage the nation's military in their quest to protect lives and livelihoods. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And away from security matters, Senate has confirmed the nomination of Professor Mahmood Yakubu for reappointment as chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the confirmation followed the approval of the report of the Committee on INEC on the screening of the INEC chairman nominee.
The Senate Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission INEC hereby recommends as follows: that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Professor Mahmood Yakubu as Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
And having gone through these 5 years, as it is with the practice even in the Parliament that we cherish ranking senators or members of House of Representatives because they have a lot of experience, and I think Mahmood has acquired same.
I stand today to support this nomination. The chairman is a chairman who recognizes the limitations placed on INEC by the enabling law, which is the Electoral Act.
Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Mahmood Yakubu for appointment as Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Senate also confirmed the nomination of Sanusi Garba, Musliu Olalekan Oseni and Aisha Mahmood for appointment as chairman, vice chairman and commissioners for the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. Meanwhile, the National Assembly has received executive communication for the consideration of the Finance Bill 2020 as a crucial document for the implementation of the 2021 budget. You're watching the Network News at 9 on NTA. Ending HIV and AIDS, stakeholders advocate testing, treatment and private sector ownership. Details in the second part of tonight's news this day.
Can get all the nutrients that we need from plants.
Open an account right away with your phone number and instantly start to send and receive money by dialing *990#. You can even pay your bills and also enjoy more opportunities to get your cash back through any of our nationwide agents near you.
The Joint Senate and House of Representatives Committee on INEC
and Electoral Matters wish to invite stakeholders and the general public to a public hearing on a bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act No. 6, 2010 as amended and enact the Independent National Electoral Commission Act 2020 to regulate the conduct of federal, state and area council elections and for related matters. Date: Wednesday, 9th December 2020. Venue: Conference Room 022, New Senate Building, National Assembly Complex, Abuja. Time: 10 a.m. prompt. Individuals and organizations wishing to submit memoranda should submit 35 hard copies and soft copy to the clerks of the committees on or before Monday, 7th December 2020. Copies of the bill are available at the committee secretariat as well as on www.placng.org. For inquiries, please call clerks of the committees on 0803-309-4634. Chairman Senate Committee on INEC. Chairman House Committee on Electoral Matters. Announcers.
Oh, see how oily I am. It'll take forever to clean this.
Take it easy, Pan. Your days of endless scrubbing are over. Madame just bought Sunlight dishwashing liquid.
What do you know about a Pan's life?
This advanced formulation has real lemon juice that'll cut through all those stains fast in just one wipe.
Wow, that was fast.
See how easy it is to remove oil in one wipe? Sunlight dishwashing liquid removes oil stains in just one wipe.
Hello, fellow progressives. Our party's membership registration exercise has commenced. We call on all our members across the country to revalidate their membership of the All Progressives Congress APC. This exercise will run from December 12, 2020 to January 9, 2021. All members who have not registered and others who intend to join our great party should avail themselves of this opportunity. The registration shall run concurrently in all wards in every state of Nigeria. Do not hesitate to become a registered progressive. Be part of progress and good governance. Your membership of APC empowers you to stand for elections and play your role in governance. Your registration empowers you to determine who becomes our party's candidate, runs for election, and be in government. Register, empower yourself, do it now.
There are no small beginnings, only stepping stones to bigger things. That's our philosophy at Premium Pension. And so no matter the size of your money, our team of expert fund managers invested wisely and actively to make sure your money is always working as hard as you do. After all, the things we're building today can help shape your future in the long run. And with the right partner by your side, the one thing you're sure to do is soar. Premium Pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Thank you for staying. The Nigeria Police Force says it is perfecting the extradition of Abdulrasheed Maina, former chairman of the Pension Reform Task Team, following his arrest in Ienre, Niger Republic. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Frank Mba, says the force will extradite the fugitive to enable him face trial in pending criminal proceedings against him. Abdulrasheed Maina, who was declared wanted by a court of competent jurisdiction, was arrested through the collaborative efforts of the operatives of the Nigeria Police Force, Interpol, NCB, Abuja, and their Nigerian counterpart. He's currently in a detention facility in Niger Republic, awaiting the completion of the extradition processes. Let's now talk health. Knowing your HIV status is absolutely necessary. Not only does it give caregivers the opportunity to stop the virus from harming you, but also provides access to existing interventions. To this end, the global theme for 2020 World AIDS Day calls on leaders and citizens to take responsibility in sustaining efforts at eliminating HIV, especially in the face of COVID-19 and beyond. Uche Ogochukwu reports.
An estimated 34 million people are living with HIV/AIDS worldwide, with the burden and prevalence reported among women, children, and the youth.
We have self-stigma, environmental stigma, and family stigma.
The agency responsible for the control of AIDS in Nigeria, NACA, is however optimistic that although the country is currently at 73% of the first 90 of the 1990 targets, the 2030 goal will be achieved.
Our main challenge is people agreeing to come out and demand for HIV testing and get tested. I can assure you, if everyone in Nigeria can get tested to know their status in the next 3 months, and in the next 2 years, we will reach the 95, and we will control HIV in this country.
We are working together as a joint team closely with the government of Nigeria to ensure that the adequate policies and standards are maintained as per global expectation, but that we also ramp up critical interventions like testing. And we want to commend the efforts that have been made, but we still have more to do.
WHO theme, Global Solidarity, Shared Responsibility, employs all hands on deck to end the scourge. So, get tested. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
The First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has advocated the need for all critical stakeholders to sustain efforts towards addressing the global burden of HIV and AIDS. The First Lady stated this in a message at an event to commemorate 2020 World AIDS Day, organized by the African First Ladies Peace Mission in collaboration with Future Assured and Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Nigeria. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
The 2018 records by the Joint United Nations Programme on HIV and AIDS, UNAIDS, and the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, indicate a national HIV prevalence in Nigeria of 1.4% amongst adults aged between 15 and 49 years. This is relatively low compared to previous figures of 2.8. The report further shows that about 1.9 million people are living with HIV in Nigeria. Sustaining the progress so far towards achieving zero HIV infection and discrimination were the focus of this year's World AIDS Day, with a theme ending HIV and AIDS epidemic, resilience and impact, while emphasizing the need for concerted effort to strengthen advocacy towards bridging the gap of those without access to related health services and cure for the epidemic. The First Lady of Nigeria, who is also HIV UN ambassador, in a message has called on the need for proper funding despite the threat posed by COVID-19 pandemic.
As with other spheres of life, this year has been greatly affected by COVID-19. It is important to remember that while funding research and healthcare workers are being diverted to work on COVID-19, essential health services must, however, remain available to people living with and affected by HIV.
The strategic collaboration has significantly made a headway in creating awareness, curbing and managing the spread of the virus, as well as reducing the antisocial behaviors towards the victims.
Stakeholders will assure their commitment towards the control of HIV and AIDS in Nigeria. The event featured presentation of certificates to students who participated in quiz and essay competition on the topic revolving within the theme of this year's World AIDS Day, geared towards creating more awareness on the dangers as well as the prevention and control measures of the epidemic. In Abuja, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
Similarly, galvanizing the private sector towards taking ownership of HIV testing and treatment has been identified as another measure in ending HIV in Nigeria. Uche Oguchukwu reports that this was the thought of policymakers at the launch of a strategic document on HIV/AIDS in commemoration of the 2020 World AIDS Day in Abuja.
Strategy document will set the tone for a renewed effort in the fight against HIV and AIDS, drawing lessons from COVID-19 experiences.
Last year, over 44,000 Nigerians were estimated to have died from HIV/AIDS. We've spent 6.2 billion to identify and treat 70% of the estimated 1.8 million persons that live with HIV/AIDS in Nigeria.
So not only is Nigeria now putting the money to finance the people living with HIV, it has a pathway of owning the response.
The federal government is currently committing 2.5 billion naira to the treatment of additional 50,000 persons living with HIV and AIDS to complement donor funds. And this has helped in reducing the prevalence from 5.8 in 2001 to 1.3 in 2018.
We must try as much as possible to domesticate and localize this production so that we can cut down on costs.
The National Treatment and PMTCT Program, NTPP, has been reinvigorated with the support of our partners to strengthen the health sector response.
The policymakers advise states to embrace the National Health Insurance Scheme with emphasis on HIV/AIDS services. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
And away from World AIDS Day, Nigerian women are walking the talk and backing their words of action in ensuring that the issue of violence against women becomes a thing of the past. To this effect, wives of some state governors are collaborating with the Minister of Women Affairs and lending their voices and actions against the menace in commemoration of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Momso Damien Dati reports.
Color orange is still much in vogue the world over. At least for the 16 days, the painting is still on. Reason why these women from all stratas are converging on the Ministry of Women Affairs to illustrate their commitments to peace, harmony, and say no to violence.
We are very concerned about the spate of gender-based violence in the country. And that is why we got together in June of this year to set up this working group, which is called Nigerian Governors' Wives Against Gender-Based Violence. We work on these issues in our states, individually, and we work collectively to ensure that we have a robust response to all forms of gender-based violence.
For these women, it's time to back actions with words. And on the issue of violence, the minister says there is no going back.
We will not stop after 16 days. It's a continuous battle until we see that the awareness is right and that all perpetrators are fully punished and at least we attain zero tolerance.
Being the 16th day of the 16 days of activism, today signifies a candlelight procession in honor and memory of all the women and girls who lost their lives to one form of violence or another. In Abuja, Momso Damien Lati, NTA News.
Thank you, Momso. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is leading the campaign to mark this year's International Day for Persons with Disabilities, celebrated yearly on the 3rd day of December. Ruth Aguela reports that the campaign raises awareness for persons with disabilities while promoting equal opportunities for them.
The popular saying, no one knows where the shoe pinches, but he who wears it, best describes the daily struggles faced by persons with disabilities in different aspects of their lives. To ensure an inclusive society for persons with disabilities, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is holding this briefing to mark the International Day for Persons with Disabilities.
The theme for this year's International Day of Persons with Disabilities is building back better toward a disability inclusive, accessible and sustainable post-COVID-19 world. The federal government will continue to be disability sensitive in supporting and providing a conducive environment towards promoting the participation of persons with disabilities and their leadership to enable a fulfilled life with meaningful contributions to societal growth and development.
For the ministry, the coming on board of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities is a clear demonstration of government's commitment to ensuring a better society for all. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development and the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, have signed a memorandum of understanding to train over 23,000 youths in 21 trade areas across the country. And the Yang reports that the training is part of the current efforts by the federal government to retool Nigerian youths in more productive businesses.
The signing of the MOU is in line with the mandate of the Industrial Training Fund and the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development towards providing interventions intended to impact the economy through skills development and entrepreneurship. To this end, the collaboration termed Youth Development and Entrepreneurship Program will cut across the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCTs. The program will expose the trainees to new trends in technology with a hands-on experience.
It's going to be continuous. The government is in a hurry to make sure that we upskill our youth, we support them, we place them on the path of entrepreneurship. And I think that's the future. We expect this will start before the end of the year.
We've been able to draw up 21 trade areas that we can equip young Nigerian women and men. And that would mean 600 per state, including the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja. So in 3 months after the training, should be able to get 23,000 young Nigerians trained for employability or to be self-employed.
The collaboration will help in tackling unemployment challenges of the huge population of Nigerian youth in Jos, Indenyan and the Abigang. NTA News.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has issued an advisory circular to caution pilots, airline operators and others on severe dust, haze and fog phenomenon prevalent in Nigerian airports. In a statement by the General Manager, Public Relations, Sam Adurogboye, the agency explained that adverse weather condition is expected in the southern parts of the country in December, in addition to early morning fog, which might also be experienced in the months ahead, especially along the coastal areas. The statement further urges traveling public to exercise restraint and show understanding in this Yuletide season, as flights may be delayed or cancelled on account of weather situations. The NCAA further explains that it expects strict compliance with this advisory circular, as violation will be viewed seriously. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Imam Suleiman Ibrahim as the new Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP. A holder of BSc Sociology, Masters of Arts Management and Masters of Business Administration MBA degrees, Mrs. Suleiman Ibrahim hails from Nasarawa State. Until her new appointment, she was a member of the Nasarawa State Economic Advisory Council, as well as Special Advisor on Strategic Communication to the Minister of State for Education. All right, time now to have a feel of Lagos, where Dotun will bring our next report.
Thank you, Ienre. The federal government's dream of deploying 6 million prepaid meters to homes across Nigeria is fast becoming a reality. This was disclosed by the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Festus Keyamo, as he led other members of the federal government's Technical Committee on Tariff Verification to an electricity meter manufacturing company in Ogun State. Adeola Komi Akere reports.
To bridge the metering gap in the power sector and eliminate overbilling of consumers, the federal government's technical committee on tariff verification was established. In compliance with its mandate, the committee, led by the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Festus Keyamo, visited an electric meter manufacturing company to ascertain its competence and readiness in actualizing the federal government's dream. The committee afterwards embarked on a tour of facilities and infrastructure.
Government and Labour, we have agreed in principle that those meters should be produced locally. One, it creates employment. Two, it also improves our local technology. And what we have seen here today meets those requirements. They have the capacity. They are also even training other young men on the deployment, in preparation to the deployment of these meters.
That will make sure that people pay for the energy used, and every party will be happy for it.
There are ancillary services I've seen he can render outside metering, which will kind of provide a good technological base for Nigeria.
Among technologies invented by the company are the MoMA's Enhancement Panel Improvement Tariff Regulation and Dual Tariff Meter.
In terms of advancing energy auditing, consumption, satisfaction about load control in your house, all those things are what we have developed locally.
We sincerely apologize for the break in that report. Let's now take a break. The news continues shortly.
People get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. The Council of Our Fathers.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Welcome back. The process of achieving a realistic foundation for the desired ethical revolution the nation needs requires the buy-in of all Nigerians. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Offences Commission, one of the agencies saddled with promoting good ethical conduct, is seeking further major support for its anti-corruption fight. Olabode Arewa has more.
2020 has been an eventful year for the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Offences Commission, one of the anti-corruption agencies spearheading the fight against graft in the country. The agency held a media interaction where it gave a scorecard on the implementation of its initiatives like the Open Treasury Portal, the Ethics and Integrity Scorecard, as well as efforts to recover assets from corrupt individuals. The chairman of the ICPC, Professor Balaji Owasonye, SAN, said the agency has upgraded its forensic unit in response to emerging trends in financial crime.
The second major thing that we introduced is a sort of peer review scorecard called the Ethics and Integrity Scorecard of MDAs.
Media executives at the Pali are of the belief that further enlightenment of the public is required on the benefits of good ethical conduct in public and private life.
Again, I'd like to know the level or the sort of partnerships that exist between you and the other anti-corruption agencies.
I
ICPC, there should be an institutional memory. It shouldn't be about the tenure of a particular person.
Mina in Enugu has the next report. Mina, it's over to you.
Thanks to you. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. Agricultural sector has received a boost in Anambra State with the inauguration of some federal government and international fund for agricultural development assisted projects executed with the support of Value Chain Development Program VCDP and the state government. Ienre reports.
That was the inauguration of the Cassava Processing Center Mbwako in Awka North local government area, remodeled by FGN, VCDP, IFAD and Anambra State government to improve the livelihood of farmers, create more job opportunities and enhance community development through adding value to what they are producing and make them more acceptable to buyers. Solar-powered borehole was also constructed at this point to facilitate the job of the cassava producers and processors.
Giving us inputs, fertilizer and so on. And this year they promised to give us money.
So we are so happy that the water is being commissioned today. And we also solicit with you, sir, please, to see how you can hasten the processing center.
The National Program Coordinator of IFAD VCDP and his team proceeded to Umeri in Anambra East local government area for the inauguration of ultra-modern cassava processing unit with solar-powered borehole and dryer.
The state project coordinating unit of Anambra State has done an excellent job. I'm very much satisfied with what they have done.
So this is one of the way out where we encourage the communities by giving them facilities like this and then giving them equipment at least to be processing.
From Obaru, Ienre NTA News.
That's it from here. It's back to you, Ienre.
Let's now have a bit of sports as referees are set for NPFL new season. Kene Imagbodike has details.
General Secretary of the Nigerian Football Federation, Mohammed Sanusi, has charged the Flying Eagles on making the nation proud in the WAFU B Under-20 tournament in Benin Republic. Sanusi, who visited the team's camp in Abuja ahead of their departure on Friday, assured the players of their welfare and entitlement as they prepare to begin their campaign in Group B with a match against Cote d'Ivoire on Sunday at the Stade Charles de Gaulle in Porto Novo. Still on football, the Nigeria Referees Association has assured on the readiness of its members for the forthcoming 2020-2021 Nigeria Professional Football League season following a 4-day medical and fitness test as well as sensitization seminars in Abuja. Olaleko Okelajolu reports that 110 referees are taking part in the program, which ends on Wednesday.
We had a record last season, despite the fact that the season was not finished. About 250 matches were played as against 360-something games. And for the very first time, we had a record of about 37 away wins and about 76 draws. Well, we had home draws. That means something is happening to our league. And I can assure you we'll do better than that this season.
Meanwhile, the Olympic Rings monument has been reinstalled in Tokyo Bay after being removed in August as organizers ramp up preparations for next year's postponed Summer Games. The rings were later illuminated and the neighboring Rainbow Bridge lit up in a multicolored display as organizers looked to provide a symbol that the rearranged games can go ahead safely next year. The monument will remain in place next to Rainbow Bridge until the Olympics finish in August before being replaced with the Paralympics logo. Kenan Ima Aburike, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari sends heartfelt condolence to former House of Representatives member and gubernatorial candidate in Anambra State, Honorable Nicholas Ukachukwu, over the death of his wife in an auto crash. The president describes the death of barrister Mrs. Onena Millicent as a regrettable incident that has not only robbed the Ukachukwu family of a jewel, but also deprived society of the positive contributions of an entrepreneur, school proprietress, and pillar of support for her husband in his political and philanthropist activities. President Buhari praised that God rest the soul of the departed and also comfort those left behind to mourn her. Let's now have a quick look at tomorrow's weather prospect.
Hello there, I am Theodora Itum. To the forecast, for Wednesday morning, dust haze